Hello everybody and welcome back to Expedition GeForce in Planet Coaster. Now, the last video on this series was a bit of a short one and I probably apologised for the lack of content in that video itself. But yeah, if you haven't watched that, I'll just update you quickly. I lost a lot of progress due to overwriting a park save file, so that's why there's been a bit of a delay for this episode, because I've had to spend some time to rebuild so that I'm not, showing you the same footage twice. So we have now gone past the footage that I recorded in the very short last episode of this series, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it's going now. We're really starting to get lots of progress done, and you're really starting to see it take shape. It looks just like it's meant to, because before this, really, without the supports, it doesn't exactly look like Expedition GeForce. Of course, you got the track layout and you can tell what ride it is, but in terms of, I don't know, it just doesn't look the same. But yeah, we're doing lots of different details in this video, and you saw me there putting speakers up the lift hill, and these are TMTK speakers because the in-game speakers are actually too big to fit in that gap. But the speakers are there because I think there's some kind of audio that plays whilst the train goes up the lift hill, and I'm going to try and get hold of that so that I can have it in a in-game speaker, hidden in the track, so you can hear that whilst it goes up the lift hill, and that will be user audio to user music, to like download when you get the park. But yeah, we're just putting a bit more details in. I noticed that every other speaker had a little electrical box, which I don't really think needs much detail, so I've just used a few beam pieces to make this. And there's another electrical box here, and I've literally just used one piece because it's very simple. You don't really see much, it's just painted orange. And then here they have some weird catwalk underneath the lift hill. I think it's something to do with where the cable re-engages after moving along the bottom of the support structure, because it's a very similar position to where the cable rejoins the bottom of the lift hill, but I don't really know exactly what those are for. But obviously if it's on the coaster, I'm going to have to add it in the recreation. So moving on then, we are now working on a few custom supports just around this final turn, which leads into the straight section of just some bunny hills and then into the brakes. And the reason why I'm only supporting this part of the ride for now is because there is a maintenance building which fits very delicately around the supports of this turn, and because I wanted to get a lot of work done around the lift hill structure itself, I felt like making that building was quite an important feature to have, and I couldn't do that completely without these supports being here because I wasn't sure where they'd have to be. So I thought it would be a good idea to have these supports in, and these supports were actually quite difficult to do because of the position of them, because they are facing away from the path, so the only reference I could get was a POV of the ride going down the first drop. But anyway, we're now onto that maintenance building itself. Now I've done the supports, and you can see how this is very, very close to the track, but of course it won't really be a clearance issue because of the banking of the track. It's basically directly underneath the track. So I'm using some beam pieces to make the wall texture there, and then a few TMTK roof panels here. I think the colouring of this was quite difficult actually, because it's very, it's all different shades of grey and black and white, and in different lights it sometimes looks different from different angles. Again, just like the supports, this building is kind of hidden away, so all of the reference images, I'm pretty sure all of them were from different POVs. Thankfully there was a backwards POV, so I could see what this building looked like as the ride turned around the corner, and there was a very good view of the building there. So I was quite lucky to find that, and now I've managed to get this building to look pretty similar to how it does in real life, but the small details underneath this roof probably won't be that accurate because I can't really find much pictures of what they look like. But the main reason for this building is actually to receive the cable, which comes down the drop. Instead of going directly underneath the track for the lift hill, it comes vertically down alongside the drop, and it goes to a small slit in this building, as you can see here. And yeah, we'll soon be guiding the cable through that hole, and then the cable, that it has some almost like some wheels which guide it back along the bottom quite close to the ground, and then it meets up with where those two small catwalks were, which I built earlier. So yeah, that's just all I've got really to say about this building. You can see that we're getting absolutely carried here by beam pieces. Without these, this whole recreation probably would not be possible. So if there's one good thing Frontier have done, it is adding TMTK, because it makes stuff so much easier. I feel like we've all got to appreciate the Theme Maker's Toolkit a bit more than we do. I think quite a lot of the community just take it for granted, but when I'm actually thinking, what would I do without TMTK, I don't know what I would do. With that said, you're basically just going to watch me build this building for about a minute, so I guess I could talk about real life theme parks, even though they're not open clearly. The situation with coronavirus does seem to be getting a bit better. The vaccine seems to be going well, so I'm hoping that lockdown should be over soon, and following that, hopefully theme parks will be announced to be allowed to reopen. So I don't think it'll be for the start of the season, but I'm hoping around May, June time they could be open, and that would be very good. I think, I would do anything to be at a theme park right now. I've got lots of plans of places I want to go. Not all of them are just in the UK. There's some in France, and of course Belgium. Belgium are opening 2 massive coasters which are going to be some of the best in Europe, and of course I do want to go there, but the situation in Belgium apparently isn't very good. So that probably won't happen this year, but it's definitely a place that I've got in mind to visit. But I think I'm preparing to just stay in the UK for all of 2021 probably, because the vaccinations just don't seem to be progressing at the same rate anywhere else. So I think travelling abroad this year will be very difficult, but let's hope it all gets better soon. Anyway, back to what I'm building. I apologise if I went a bit off track there. We are now joining this, I guess it's a cable guide, that's what I'm going to call it. It's basically a separate track, but the cable travels along it instead of the roller coaster. So you can see that it's got almost cross ties to help it have good structure, I guess. But yeah, I'm actually quite happy with the detail went into with this. I know it's not amazing, like you can see that when you zoom in there's not the same kind of textures that there would be, but I think it's good enough, because in reality you don't really go up close to this at all in real life. You can't even see it from the coaster. You can see it obviously on the way back, but you're so close to the ground it's basically just like being stood at ground level, so from a distance it looks absolutely fine. So I think the detail I've got for this cable track guide thing, I think it's fine. And yeah, we're just putting some fencing on these small catwalks, and this is just so that the maintenance crew can step on there. I'm pretty sure these fences are only on one side, strangely enough, and I'm not really sure why that is, because you would think that they're on both sides, but I don't think they are. If I'm wrong, just correct me, but I think they're only on one side. Maybe they could be so that you can attach something to it, like harnesses, etc., or pieces of equipment, so that they don't fall off. But to access those catwalks, you are of course going to need some kind of ladder, and the ladder is exactly what I'm building here, and I'm sure there's some kind of wire or cable additionally alongside this ladder, so that there's a bit of safety, because I wouldn't recommend climbing this ladder just on your own. You've got to have a harness, of course. But I didn't really see anything, so like I said, I'm not going full depths with detail everywhere, because I think there's some areas where I'm not going to be able to have much detail at all because of struggling to get reference images. So I don't want to balance it, I don't want to unbalance it even, so I'm just trying my best. But there's some bits where I think adding that much detail isn't necessary, so that's all I'm really going to be doing for the ladder going up that support. But yeah, back to some other stuff now. We are connecting well, we're not really connecting. These are supports that I built last time, and yeah, I'm just putting flanges in because they are, of course, on the support structure in real life. So it's just that bit of detail, and I know I said I'm not putting too much detail in everywhere, but putting some detail in there because they are quite obvious and they're really easy to add. It's not like, you know, it takes a matter of seconds to add a flange in a specific place of a support because of how easily the axes line up. But yeah, we're just making another support here, and that is it. That is the end of this video once we connect to the other one. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're happy with the amount of progress we get done in this video, because I'm really happy with how it's progressed. So if you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Buckle up, it's a trail ride.